All right. Well, it is 7:01. So we are live on streaming right now. So I think we're ready to get started. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Tiverton Town Council meeting of Monday, December 14th, 2020. And since our flag bearer, Councillor Edwards, is here, we'll start by standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, for the last time, Madam Clerk, would you like to please call the roll?
Yes, Madam President, for the last time. Call the roll.
You're making me sad.
Councillor Hilton.
Present.
Councillor Madeiras.
Present.
Councillor Perry.
Present.
Councillor Driggs. Present. Councillor Clerk.
He's muted.
You're muted.
Steve.
Present.
Councillor Cook.
Present.
And Councillor Edwards.
Present.
All present.
All present, and also with us, we have Town Administrator Cotta, Town Solicitor Marcello, Town Clerk Nancy Mello, and Deputy Clerk Jeannie V. So it's a very exciting evening tonight, as the new council will shortly be taking over, but the previous council has a bit of business to finish, so we'll get right to it. Our approval of minutes from our regular meeting of November 23rd, 2020. So do I have a motion to approve those minutes? Councillor Edwards, do I have a
Madam President.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I'll take a roll call vote. Councillor Edwards,
Yes.
Councillor Perry,
Yes.
Councillor Clark,
Yes.
Councillor Driggs,
Yes.
Councillor Madeiras,
Yes.
Councillor Cook,
I'm sorry, I had to run and get something because, you know, it was somewhere else because I was using two computers. Wait a minute, there was something, I'm sorry. Was it the minute?
Right, Donna.
Was it November 23rd?
yes.
I wanted to know if the letter was sent out for the HOA.
Well, that's a sort of a separate question. This is the minutes. I'm not,
Oh,
but I think.
but how do I
I'm
do
gonna-
that?
I'm
to
going
ask?
to defer. I'm going to defer to Mike on whether or not.
I will tell you that we drafted the letter and it's revised and it should go out within the next week. But Chris and I drafted the letter.
Okay, thank you. All right, yes.
Okay, and I am also a yes, so that approves the minutes. Item B for us is a proclamation of appreciation to Town Clerk Nancy Mello on the occasion of her retirement. So I will read this proclamation. Whereas Nancy Mello officially retires on this day after 30 years of dedicated service to the town of Tiverton, and whereas Nancy first began her full-time tenure as town treasurer and tax collector, and whereas Nancy was first elected to the position of Tiverton Town Clerk in 2004, and the citizens of Tiverton have re-elected her to that position for 16 consecutive years. And whereas in the course of the last 16 years, Nancy has acted as invaluable historian, mentor, and general go-to person for some 35 new town councilors and 7 new town administrators. And whereas Nancy has ably served at the request of the Tiverton Town Council as acting town administrator on 6 different occasions. And whereas Nancy has overseen every election and referendum held in Tiverton over the past 16 years and served as the clerk of the Tiverton Board of Canvassers. And whereas Nancy has helped and assisted in an incalculable number of town residents and businesses to navigate the complexities and requirements of municipal government, in everything from marriage licenses, special permits, voter registration, business licenses, real estate transactions, and land recordings to wills and probate court. And whereas Nancy has often quietly assisted and marshaled available resources for those who have come to her office in a time of personal crisis and not knowing where else to turn. And whereas in all the aforementioned activities, the hallmark of Nancy's service has been professionalism, good humor, kindness, and fair and equal service for all. Be it therefore proclaimed that every official and citizen of the town of Tiverton extends to Nancy L. Mello their deep appreciation for her invaluable service to the town of Tiverton and the very best wishes for happiness and good health in her well-deserved retirement. Nancy?
Thank you very much. Now I don't want to leave.
And Nancy has been telling me now for the last several weeks that she's riding off into the sunset. So I just thought I'd let you know, Nancy, the pony's going to be out front, and I got your hat right here.
And the dog is commenting how it's going to be rough without you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what dog is barking, but my dog is losing it right now.
It's of course, it's my dog because, you know, heck, we can't finish on anything but a highly professional manner.
My dog almost just knocked down the tree trying to find your dog out the window.
I know.
Madam President, he's just letting us know that it's going to be rough without Nancy.
My dog is having it.
We got it.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. And I will say thank you to everyone. Over the years, I've made a lot of friends over this, and I've really come to respect the position that I wasn't very fond about taking on clerk, and I have come to realize what a special position it's been. So thank you very much. I will miss it, but then on these cold days, I will enjoy not being out.
Well, thank you, Nancy,
I have
for
no regrets.
all the help you've given me.
All right.
Madam President, I'd like to say thank you to Nancy for all the help she's given me over the 4 years that I've been here. There are times where I didn't know what to do, and I looked to her, and she's always there to help any way she could. So I want to thank her for all her help she did for me over the past 4 years.
It
Excellent.
was mutual, Joe.
There we go. And finally, I'd like to give an opportunity to the retiring counselors if they have some closing remarks and acknowledgement of appreciation. So I'll start with Councillor Clark.
Oh, sure. Put me first. Okay.
Well, I was going to go in alphabetical order, so.
Oh, all right. Well, a couple of years ago, I knew very little about town government. So I have to say the last 2 years have been very enlightening, both in a good sense and a not so good sense. But I won't go into detail about that, but it's been a good experience for me. So I'll keep this brief, and I'd just like to say that it's been very enjoyable working with all of you, in spite of if we had differences in the past. Hopefully we can all move forward. And I hope that each and every one of you continues to stay in town government, because with your experience and your connections that you've made, I hope that, I think that you will all be very effective moving forward. I also hope to probably get involved with a committee. I don't know which one, because I also would like to stay involved. And it's been great working with you. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Councillor Driggs?
Yes. So I just want to thank the town for the ability to have served the town in Budget Committee, Charter Review Commission, and now the Town Council. I can't say I was devastated not to be reelected, because in all honesty, I've been getting into painting and doing a lot of grandparenting and painting and really having fun with it. I'm glad to see other people are stepping forward, and you're in good hands with Donna on the committee. She's awesome. And anyway, that's good. I've enjoyed it and I'm enjoying looking forward to not being there, if that makes sense.
Councillor Edwards?
Thank you, Madam President. So I just want to thank everybody who I've served with on this council. Obviously, this has been my second term in a relatively unconventional way for me to get here. So thank you to everybody who has supported me and voted for me over the years. I really appreciate that support. And I want to say that it's been great working with everybody on this council. Again, we run into instances where we don't always see eye to eye, but it's been great to have those lively dialogues, and I'm proud of the work that this council has done. I think that every member of this council has contributed in a great way and helped advance the town in a positive direction. That being said, there's still a lot of work to do. So, I look forward to seeing, the positive work that the new council's going to be able to accomplish. And finally, I want to thank, Nancy Mello for her years of service and for stepping up and filling the void for the town in many different instances. I think she's done a phenomenal job, and that's certainly not gone unrecognized. And then, of course, Councillor Hilton, I want to thank you and Councillor Madeiras for your leadership on this council. I think you've done a fantastic job, and the town is certainly going to miss you, Councillor Hilton. So that's it. I want to thank everybody for their support, and good luck to the next council, and have at it.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Finally, so I'd really just like to, first of all, thank the voters of Tiverton for the honor and privilege of serving for the last 4 years. And the councillors that I've served with, both on this council and the prior council. Again, we don't always agree, but I do think that everybody in their own way has the town's best interest at heart, and I've enjoyed very much working with everybody. I'd like to acknowledge and express my appreciation for the town staff, the department heads, and all of the town staff. We have some wonderful, really wonderful people who work here. I've always said that our people are our best asset, and I mean it. They've been of great assistance to us, and it's much appreciated. I'd like to thank Town Administrator Chris Cotta, who I think has done a fabulous job in this seat, coming in, especially in the middle of a pandemic and with a lot on his plate. It's been really a pleasure to work with you. To Solicitor Marcello, a special appreciation. I certainly didn't expect to ever end up council president, and it was something I didn't really take, that I wasn't really looking forward to being. But then especially I was somewhat surprised to find myself in the middle of a pandemic and a state of emergency without a permanent town administrator. And I have to say, without Solicitor Marcello's assistance and guidance, especially in the early days of that, we'd have been really sunk. So Mike, it's been great to work with you. And I really appreciate all the help. Last but not least, of course, Nancy Mello, who has just been something of a guardian angel, I think, for all of us. And it was been an enormous help to me in all the time that I've been here. So Nancy, thank you for everything. And I think the one thing that I am especially happy to be taking away from all of this is the opportunity that I've had to meet literally hundreds of people in Tiverton that I maybe never would have had an opportunity to meet. And out of those people, many new friends. And that's really something that I'm incredibly appreciative for, is the opportunity that this has given me to meet so many really great fellow citizens in town. Finally, to the incoming council, I want to wish you the best and much success. And I look forward to seeing all the work that you're going to do in bringing the town forward. So thank you, and best wishes to all of you. I think that concludes the agenda for the prior council. So I will now hand it over to Nancy, I believe, for the swearing in of the newly elected officials.
Thank you, Councillor Hilton. So I'm going to need Town Sergeant Kelly Levick, And the newly elected town clerk, Joan Shabbat.
Yeah.
Yep, they're both there. And then all 7 councillors. That would be Denise, Deb Janik, Donna Cook, Joe Perry, Jay Edwards. Is he on?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes, okay.
somewhere. Okay.
Deb Janik, Mike Burke, and William Vieira. So do I have everybody? I
Yep.
don't see Mike.
Yes.
Burke.
We
Yeah,
still
I'm
have,
here. I'm here.
we
Mike's
still
here.
have
It's
Steve
just
and,
the way the screen is, I guess. So I think we should stand and raise your right hand. I'm going to state the oath. You're going to repeat it after me, of course, filling in your own names. So if you could please stand and raise your right hand. I
I, Donna B.
Nicholas
Shabbat,
Burke,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support,
that I will
support,
support,
enforce, and abide
enforce,
enforce, and abide
by the Constitution and laws
by the
the Constitution and laws
of the United States of America
of the United
of the United States of America
and of the state of Rhode Island,
of
and
the
of the
state,
state of Rhode Island,
that I will in all respects
that I will
in
in
all
all
respects
respects
observe the provisions of the charter
observe the
observe the
provisions of the
provisions
charter
of the charter
and ordinances
and
and
ordinances
ordinances
of the town of Tiverton,
of the
of the
town
town
of
of
Tiverton,
Tiverton,
and will faithfully discharge the duties
and will faithfully
discharge the duties
as and
as
as
town
councillor
Town council.
for the town of Tiverton,
for the town of Tiverton.
so help me God.
Help me
Help
God.
me God.
Help me God.
Congratulations to all of you, and I'll be watching your meetings, and if I can be of any help, please contact me.
Thank you, Nancy.
We will.
thank you, Nance.
Thank
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Nancy.
Bye-bye.
Joan.
Hello, everyone. Congratulations to all the new counselors, to the town sergeant. Welcome this evening. We'll begin with the roll call for the newly elected town council. Denise D. Madeiras,
Yeah,
Donna Cook,
Here.
Joe Perry,
Here.
Jay Edwards, Jay.
Jay.
Jay, are you there?
Nope, he's muted. You can hear him.
Yeah, your audio went bad, Joe, or did Jay?
We can't hear your audio, Jay.
He's not muted. It's,
He doesn't have his audio turned on.
Function F4, Jay?
He's muted.
Now he's muted.
Now we mute.
There you are.
So
Still
you know,
can't hear him.
maybe his headphones have to come off.
Can he hear us? Jay, can you hear us? Does anyone have any ideas of how he can turn his sound on?
Jay, check your settings for your audio. Go to,
Joan,
Go
you
to
didn't
all
get too
settings.
far.
go to the bottom right, that little square, click on it. Go to all settings, go to devices. Make sure your device is, if it's, I think it's wired, so just make sure it's connected.
He was talking before.
Yeah, there, I just tried again, Jay.
Me now?
Yep.
There you
yep.
go.
Yes.
You know what it is? I had my headphones plugged in and that seems to do something.
Thanks, Mike.
So Jay Edwards,
Yeah, I'm here.
very good. Now you're here. Deborah Janik. Here. Michael Burke,
Nope, you're muted.
Here,
William Vieira,
Here.
all present. Now we'll continue on with the nomination for Town Council President. Are there any nominations?
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Denise DiMederos.
I'll second that.
Are there any further nominations? If not, nominations are closed. All those in favor of Denise DiMederos for president?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, you have to do a roll. You have to do
Yeah,
a
you
roll
have to
call.
do a roll.
We have
Okay.
to do hands or roll call?
Roll call
Roll
because of
call.
Zoom. Because of Zoom.
Denise DiMederos,
Yes.
Donna Cook,
No.
Joseph Perry,
Yes.
Jay Edwards,
Yes.
Deborah Janik,
Yes.
Michael Burke,
Yes.
and William Vieira.
Yes.
Nomination passes. Over to you, Denise.
Thank you, Joan. Thanks, everyone. I'd like to take nominations for Town Council Vice President.
I'd like to nominate Mike Burke for vice president.
Do I
I'll
have a
second
second?
that.
I have a nomination and a second. Any other nominations? Joe Perry?
Are you looking for my vote?
Yes.
Okay.
Discussion.
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Mike Burke?
Yes.
Deb Janik?
Yes.
Donna Cook?
No.
Okay, congratulations, Mike.
Congratulations, Denise.
Thank you. All right, consent agenda. Acknowledgement, receipt of minutes from boards, commissions, committees, Board of Canvassers 3. Acknowledge receipt of reports, police and fire department, overtime reports, November 2020.
Madam Clerk, Madam President, I'm sorry, on the agenda under B, there was just brief remarks for newly elected town council members. I don't know if you wanted to put that at the
Oh,
end.
I'm very sorry. I skipped right over that. Would anybody like to make any remarks? Deb?
I would just like to thank the voters for putting us here. We have a new year. We have a lot of challenges ahead, a lot of work to do, but I'm hoping we're going to work together and show some good results. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Bill?
Madam President, I'd like to thank the voters for getting out and voting this year. I think that was a very important thing, that everybody got out and voted. Doesn't matter who they voted for, as long as they got out and voted. And it showed in the polls that there was a high success rate of people voting. And I want to thank everybody for voting, whether you voted for me or not. I'm glad you exercised your right to vote. Thank you.
Bill, would you like to say anything?
I'd like to congratulate Denise and Mike. I'd like to thank the outgoing town council for your professionalism and performance and your public service. I'd like to thank my family and friends for their support over the last 6 months. I'd like to thank the voters. As a first time running, I really appreciate your confidence in me. And, you know, even though he has a 2-hour delay, I'd like to say what a pleasure it is to serve on a council with the gentleman from American Choppers there. So thank you.
That's you, Joe.
That's, yeah, he knows.
Yeah, I know.
Jay?
Well, I'd like to reiterate what Joe Perry said to the voters. Thank you for going out and voting, exercising your right to vote. It's very important. As for the rest of us, here we are, we're ready to go. All of us, with one exception, have experience in town government, either in town council, budget committee, or school committee. So we do have a lot of experience in this particular town council going in. I hope that we'll all keep our eye on the ball, do what's best for the town, not allow our personal agendas interfere with the business that we are required to do, I don't think we'll have a problem. So thank you again.
Mike?
Thank you, Madam President. And thank you to all the voters of Tiverton who supported us and again, as others have said, exercised your right and to me, your responsibility to vote, especially in the environment that we've had. I think it would be remiss if we didn't take a moment to remember the nearly 300,000 folks in the US who have died and the 1.6 million globally from COVID. And there are hundreds of thousands of spouses and parents and relatives and children and friends who they've left behind who have lost a loved one. For those who think that it's a fake illness, all I can say is I hope you or your loved ones don't get infected by it. And if you do, you survive. I congratulate my fellow councilors, Joan for her election as well, Kelly, and all the other individuals who won in the races, and thank those who also ran and did not succeed for having the courage to run. I'm excited to be here for the next 2 years, and I'm looking forward to working with the 7 of us, as well as Joan and Chris, on helping to move Tiverton forward while respecting our past and recognizing the value we have as both a suburban and rural community. We have a lot of challenges we face with the economy, with the coming out of the pandemic, continuing to build a community that has a strong sense of place, and I look forward to working with all of us on that. Thank you.
I would like to thank all the voters who voted for me once again. I would like to wish the councilors that I served with last year best of luck. I enjoyed working with you. I think we did great work. Even though we didn't disagree on everything, we did get things done. And of course, I'm looking forward to working with all of you, including Joan, Chris, Mike, Kelly. And I'm looking forward to this year. I think we can do really good things. Thank you. Now I'm going to
Donna?
Yes.
For Donna.
Oh, Donna, I'm sorry. I don't see your picture.
No kidding. Easily forgotten. Anyway, no. Hopefully, it will be a year that we can, get a lot done. I think the last year's council was very hardworking in many areas, and I do want to thank the electors and voters that voted for me. And anyway, good luck to everybody for this coming up year.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Consent agenda, once again. Acknowledge receipt of minutes from boards, commissions, and committees, Board of Canvassers 3. Acknowledge receipt of reports, police and fire department overtime, November 2020. Department monthly reports, September 2020. Jen, and I always mess up her last name, Soliciano, Town Planner and Administrative Officer, report of activities of Planning Department and Planning Boards for October and November 2020. Approval of tax abatements, approval of Town Council 2021 meeting calendar, Town Clerk, approval of advertisement for 2021 annual tree warden appointment per DEM requirement, and Councillor D. Madeiras, approval of Bay Street Moratorium extension to June 30th, 2021. Would anybody like to remove anything for consideration from this consent agenda?
Madam President, I'd like to remove item C just for a quick clarification.
Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda, A, B, D, E, and F.
So moved. Mike.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, Joe?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
and Donna.
Yes.
Item C, approval of tax abatements. Mike?
So Chris, Mike, I don't know if Dave Roberts on, just a quick question. What is a Rossi rule? The Smith auto bodies uncollectible per Rossi law?
Madam President,
Yes,
can I
Jay.
answer that question?
Sure, Jay.
I
know
talked
you
to
looked
the
it up.
tax collector today. Rossi Law is the firm that we hired to collect delinquent taxes. So it's not a statute. And what happened here was, this has been going on for since 2008, I believe she told me. Smith's Auto Body has changed ownership quite a few times. We've been unable to collect the taxes. So normally after about 10 years, the statute of limitations expires and we just give up. And we've chosen to give up on this now.
Thank you.
I was confused too.
Thank you, Jay.
Yep.
Do I have a motion to approve item 7C?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second,
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, Joe,
yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Thank you. Public comments regarding a council agenda item or other town businesses. We received one comment, it looks like, from Edward Ward regarding streetlight and Starlit Drive and recycling program concerns. Is he in the waiting room?
What is his name?
Edward Ward. I don't see him.
No, he's not.
Email this in, Denise.
Just read the comment.
Did he email any comment in? Because I didn't get it.
Yes, we do have a copy of this in our packet.
I don't, so if someone would like to, oh, wait a minute. No, I don't.
I can read it, Madam Chair, Madam President.
Thank you.
To public comment for TivertonRI.gov. The street light, number one, the street light is out on the bottom of the cul-de-sac on Starlit Drive. Number two, our recycling program should be improved. I moved here from North Kingstown and they provided a large barrel with truck pickup once every 2 weeks that lifted the barrel to dump it. No open containers or labor other than the driver. Bristol has the same program. And I put my recycling out this week first thing in the morning. The wind blew it over and my stuff blew all over the place. I picked it up, weighed it down with wood, and what do you know? It happened again before they came at 5:30 p.m. Pick it up. At least provide a cover. The cost to the town might even be less than the current program. Can you please conduct a cost comparison between the two methods? I look forward to hearing from you, Edward Ward.
Okay, I'd like to remind the council that we cannot comment on this or make any decisions regarding this, but we can put this on the next agenda if anyone of you would like, and we can research it and get back to Mr. Ward with an agenda item.
I'll make a motion to accept that.
Yeah, we don't have to do that, I don't believe.
Okay.
I think we're all set.
All right.
Madam President, can I ask Donna a question? Donna, did you mean you were accepting it to put it on the next agenda or just
Yes, that's
accepting the comment?
what I was doing. Yes.
Well, all right, Donna, well, he's had a couple of things on here. So why don't we get together an agenda item and then we can put it, but he's mentioned a street light and he's also mentioned a recycling program. And as far as the street light's concerned, the DPW director or Chris can look into that. But we can put this on as agenda items.
Well, it's the only way we can really discuss it, so it'll have to be on the next
Correct.
one, right? Yeah.
Correct.
All right.
Thank you. Appointments and resignations, the Litter Committee, it's a 5-member board, 5-year term, there's 3 vacancies.
Madam President, I'm sorry, public hearing on the nuisance or animal nuisance.
My God, I'm really, really sorry. It's the way I'm set up here. Public hearing, approval of proposed amendment to Tiverton Code of Ordinances, Article 1, Section 10, public nuisance of animals, continued from November 23rd, 2020. We do have the ordinance, but I think you all got in the email on Saturday. Donna put some amendments on. Did you all get that?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, so she moved section 10.2, I believe, made it 10.3 and put in a whole other section.
Madam
Yeah,
President?
I sent like a little cover letter to explain
Yep.
that I mean, it was such a lot of work in progress, and I apologize for the lateness of it. I tried to get it out as soon as possible. I think it's self-explanatory, but I would like to read it. I think you're familiar with the top part, but maybe not so much with the bottom part.
Okay, Mike, is that all right if she reads the amendment?
Yeah, so let me just give you a little bit of background before she gets into that. So
Yeah,
Councillor
sure.
Cook requested the law department to assist her with drafting a new replacing, or actually putting in again a definition of public nuisance as relates to animals, but particularly dogs. So what is in your packet is section 10-1, which we drafted. And that was the one that was on the council agenda a couple months ago. Then we, and in between that posting and today, it was continued at least once. Ms. Cook reached out to the American Kennel Club, or they reached out to us actually, with some additional changes or recommended changes to the ordinance that they felt would be appropriate. We researched those, and those changes are what appear that Ms. Cook gave you on, I guess, Saturday. So what we would be doing is amending this ordinance as presented to reflect the amendments that's now in your packet. There's a couple options, and Donna, I don't want to step on your toes. A couple options: you can make the amendments as presented tonight, or you could. That's one option. You could have the discussion tonight and then move it, because these amendments are so extensive. You might want to make the amendments posted again and then have another public hearing on them before final adoption, or not adopt the amendments at all. Those are your three choices, basically.
So, go ahead, Donna.
All right. First of all, I think I'd like to read my cover letter because it explains some of the thought process that I shared with Michael, and did quite a bit of discussion with Stacy Ober to try to get this thing right, for the fact that the Jennifer Stills, who's the animal control officer, really doesn't have anything to work with, because back in 2011 in July, because of the language was kind of vague, it was actually repealed. So it's been that long, and she really doesn't have anything to work with. So anyway, as I said, I wanted to have a comprehensive way to satisfy multiple past, present, and future issues, that there's no need to constantly update or have it become obsolete. It's been a work in progress. Please note that instead of the civil penalties that was in the original posting, have been downgraded to lesser fines. Jennifer Stills wanted it to be what it was reflected in the book, which is 25 and 50. I also felt very strongly that people might be having a problem with their dog, but they also need help and education. So before we started with the fines, I wanted to have a warning given to them. I can't force the ACO Stills or the police department to do a handout, which would be to go to 3 AKC resources to help them with this dog barking problem. And then after that, you know, it is up to the free will of the person to take us up on the fact that ACO Stills did try to help them with giving out an educational resources to look at to help them. So at that point, if there's still problems, the fines would start to be instituted. I just thought that was a better way to go. So anyway, so underneath the first part, that's just A, B, C, D, and E, and F, we went into what dogs considered at large, immediate control off the property, and then B, the dog not considered at large, which it instituted was use for hunting, field trials, obedience training, agility. When the dog is secured, specifically designated dog park, we will be having a dog park. So I think this is a good thing to have in there. Like I was trying to look to the future. Exercise area established by government entity, homeowners association, community organization, where fencing is designed to prevent a dog from escaping. Number 4, when the dog is a service animal, which is not even mentioned in our ordinances at all, who's handled because of a disability is able to use a harness, leash, or other tether, or use such device would interfere with the service dog's safe and effective performance of work or task, provided that the service dog is otherwise under the handler's control through voice control, signals, or other effective means. 5, during search and rescue and similar public service training when the dog is accompanied by its owner or keeper or by a qualified handler, provided the owner, keeper, or handler has the express permission of the owner or occupant of the property on which the dogs are being trained. And number 6, when the dog is a working farm dog, and I specifically remember Tricia being concerned with that. So this we'll cover that. Either guarding, herding cows, fowl, goats, sheep, swine, or other domestic animals normally raised on a farm. And then C, a dog is considered to unreasonably disturb the peace if it causes a disturbance by habitual barking or other noise making for sustained periods of more than a half an hour or during the night hours so as to disturb the quiet of a neighborhood or area. This subsection does not apply to a dog guarding, working, or herding livestock. And then the 10.3 actually, the offenses or the civil penalties really will be in a separate ordinance. That's the way the town does it. So that will be I'm not even sure what section that's in, but it is separate, I've been told. But anyway, upon receipt of a complaint, the ACO officer shall investigate and upon personal observation of the complaint about behavior, issue a warning in writing to the owner or keeper of the dog that violations result in the imposition of a civil penalty. Any person found by the animal officer or confirmed in writing by 2 or more persons have separate residences in a neighborhood to be in subsequent violation of section 10.1 or 10.2 shall be subject to the following fines, which is reduced to $25 and $50, which I believe it's in Tiverton Code 1033, which is listed as that amount. So on the 3rd offense, the owner must pay a $100 fine and such animal may be impounded by the animal control officer. I also would like to roll, if we can use the word roll, there's a mention in this, there's a dogs at large, and there's also 1033, it mentions the hunting dogs. So I don't want it to be a mishmash of people trying to look all over the place for things. I would like it to be in one place where you look up this ordinance and everything's there. You're not looking on page 6 for dogs at large. You're not looking at hunting dogs on page 8 or in another section. I would like it to be all very clear in one part and not be confusing to anybody. And I hope you can support this.
Thank you, Donna. Now, Mike,
Yep, I'm here.
this has changed quite a bit since we advertised it. So I'm not sure if your idea of continuing this until the next meeting is not a bad idea. Because there is a lot of, it's much different than what we had in our packet. And people who came or didn't come was because of the original one that we advertised. So just a thought for everybody, because we can do that, right, Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another piece of this that I'm wondering about. And I'm thinking back in my memory. Mike, you said it was very difficult to really enforce something about a barking dog. Does this meet your requirements for that, or because wouldn't this be like part of the noise ordinance also?
No, so the problem with the old ordinance was it said, just basically said, I think it said incessant barking and, or, you know, or a reasonable person. It was not very defined. If you notice that under 10.1 A through F, it doesn't mention, you know, the barking dog or anything like that. It really talks about it's a nuisance because of the following reasons, but doesn't include barking. But I'm just looking through this a little second.
Well, I'm reading C.
So yeah, now C is right. So that's C, in my opinion. So a dog is considered to be unreasonably disturb the peace if it causes a disturbance by habitual barking, and then we put the standard. The difference is that we put a standard.
Okay.
So for sustained periods of a half hour or during the night hours. So, you know, we can point to something specific as to what people could, so they have notice of what the conduct is, what conduct is not permissible under the statute. So it's defines it. So I'm not concerned about that. I am concerned about, you know, again, you know, I think some of this needs to be moved around a little bit, as Donna suggested. And I know she wants to bring in some other sections. So, but I'll, you know, you can, in my opinion, I wouldn't pass it quite in this form. But I think I guess what we're looking for from the rest of the council is to determine whether or not you even are, you know, interested in moving in this direction. And whether, you know, and being as extensive as this is quite different from what we originally put. There's no question about it, but that's a policy decision. That's not my decision to make.
Now we could continue this and then we wouldn't have to advertise it again, correct?
Correct. And then we could put, you know, a cleaned up copy of this with the packet, or even advertise it just to be extra safe so people could comment if they wanted to.
Deb?
Do we need to define what the night hours are? Because I could see a neighbor saying, this dog is barking, it's 6 o'clock, it's nighttime, versus, you know, the middle of the night. Do we need to define that?
We certainly could, if you'd like, if you think that's necessary, yes.
Well, we could incorporate this with the noise ordinance, the 10 to 6 o'clock.
I was just going to say, I thought it was 10.
Because it's already as part of the noise ordinance, any excess noise after that time. So we could, Donna, we could actually put those hours on there.
We could mirror the noise ordinance. If that's the council wants to do, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, in fact, when I looked at, you know, and here we go, right? It has to do with barking. It's under environmental, which is kind of strange, but I don't have any problem with good ideas. If you want to make it the same, like 10 o'clock as the noise ordinance says, whether you want to put a reference to it or whether you want to add it right in, I don't have a problem with that at all.
Joe? You're muted.
The question I have is 10.2 penalties, C. It says on the third offense, the owner must pay a $100 fine and such animal may be impounded by the animal control officer. That would be an additional charge, right? If the dog was impounded, would you have to pay for that?
Yes.
To release the dog, yes. I believe.
So if the dog was there for 2 or 3 days, that'd be an additional fee besides that $100, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
I think.
I just want to make sure that,
So
okay, I just want to make sure that,
Should that be mentioned? Or is that just a moot thing where they're expected to pay for that?
That's not really considered a fine, that's a cost. That's the cost of impoundment.
Okay.
Jay?
But if you want to remove that provision, well, again, the imposition, the penalty, Joe and members of the council, would be the $100 fine and the impounding by the animal control officer. I guess under your local rules, you know, to get the dog released, you got to pay the boarding charge, I guess, for the days that you have. So that would be an additional fine. I mean, it's not a fine, but it's just additional cost. It's like paying the court cost when you go to pay.
yeah. You don't think we should put that in there? There would be a charge for boarding the dog? Because people may think $100 and I'm going to get my dog and find out it's a little more than that if it stayed there for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you know?
Yeah, we could, that's, if council wants to do that, that's up to you.
You could put something like, in such animal may be impounded for an additional cost of boarding or something to that effect.
Okay. I got it.
Jay, Councilor Edwards?
I agree with needing to put, like the noise ordinance has specific times of the day to which that ordinance applies. However, in this particular instance, and I have personal experience with this, and this is why I mention it. People that work split shifts or work at night need to be protected during the day. In other words, when you're trying to sleep, so even though the ordinance might delineate some times that do not include 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, we need to have some mechanism in here so that could be addressed and dealt with.
Now, Jay, I don't know if you're reading what I'm reading, but it says if it causes a disturbance by habitual barking or other noise for a sustained period of time, a half hour, I would imagine that people would assume that that was any hours, like during the day.
Yeah, I just don't want to lose that part of it.
No, I don't think anyone wanted to take that out. But I
No, that part should stay in.
Okay, and then when you're, one other little housekeeping thing, when you're looking at section 10.1, E, chase vehicles or molest, not attach, attack.
Oh,
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that was
Minor
supposed to
thing,
be
it'd probably
fixed.
get caught eventually, but.
That
Yeah, if they attach to you, there should be a
that wasn't the
penalty
first
too.
one. That was supposed to be changed. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had already mentioned that. I guess it didn't get fixed.
all
And then,
right.
of course, I agree with Donna that the first step should not be punishment, it should be education. And then if they don't want to get the message or refuse to comply to the ordinance, then we can go into the monetary fines and removal.
Okay, if there's, Mike,
Thank you. And Don, I appreciate all the work you've put into this and the animal control officer and the like. I think overall it's well written, and Mike, thanks for your help with this. I am going in a little bit different direction with the barking dog. And certainly I appreciate that. I don't like being disturbed by loud animals, usually often dogs, sometimes roosters. But I also know that I have a neighbor, set of neighbors who take in basically emotionally disturbed dogs, and sometimes they're very challenging to work with. They sometimes bark, and I would not want to see them or anybody else who takes them in, those types of dogs in, to be penalized for it. The other piece is, and Mike, you may have a response to this, when we look at first, second, and third offenses, what's the amount of time between? So if I put in a complaint on my neighbor today, and maybe this is after I've gotten the warning and everything. So it becomes my first offense. So I do that at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then I call again at 6 o'clock at night. Is that the second offense? And then the third, maybe the next day? How much time does the person have to help address the behavior with their dog, knowing that you can't force it?
It's a good point. That maybe needs to be clarified as to the time between the first and second offense, what constitutes a first or second offense.
Well, the only thing it has in the code book right now on, I don't know, there's no specific page. I know 1033, I'll go to it. Pursuant to general laws, any person violating this section shall be fined not exceeding $25 per dog for the first violation. That's another thing that should be put. We have to, yeah, we need to put per dog. I mean, some people might be 2 or 3 dogs, so that needs to be clarified. For the first violation, $50 per dog for the second violation within a 12-month period, and $100 per dog for the third and subsequent violations within a 12-month period.
Okay.
That's about all it says right there.
Yeah, I think setting timeframes like that, something like that, whether it's 12, whether it's lesser, is important.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you would, yeah, if they're called back, the thing is if she's giving out a warning with educational material and the cost of dogs, they're called again the next day, that doesn't even give someone a chance to even look at the videos to see if they can harness the behavior of the dog. So I guess would have to, I don't know how you tell whether someone is, you know, by going to the sites and trying to get their dogs some type of compliance or training their dogs. I don't know how you would do that, but certainly you're not going to be able to do it the next day. I don't, yeah, they shouldn't get they shouldn't get subsequent fines the next day. They haven't even had a chance to try the method of trying to get their dogs or figure out a way. It could be anxiety. How do you deal with anxiety? You know, whatever they need for that. So what would be the common sense approach, and what would AKC say, or some of these dog experts, as to is what would be a reasonable time frame to give them a chance to get their dog in compliance without getting a second fine, or that they're not complying at all and they do need to get the second fine because there's just no cooperation. You know, do you talk to the experts to figure it out, or Mike, do you have an idea? Does anybody have an idea of how to handle that?
How about a month?
A month seems reasonable to
A
me.
month between the offenses.
So every offense must be at least 30 days apart, basically.
Yeah.
30 days apart. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Can I just point out one thing? I'm sorry, Councilor Edwards. So in this ordinance, there are, and you know, Donna did, I gave her a bunch of things to take and look at, and ultimately it was her decision how to, what she wanted in and what not. You will note that where in the statute or in the proposed ordinance, there are things that are in quotes. That means that's a defined term, and I'm looking at C, unreasonably disturbs the peace. We need to, that doesn't seem to be defined. That's defined here, but it doesn't seem to be, doesn't look back to a definition of a public nuisance. So that needs to be fixed as well. So there's a couple of things that need to be fixed.
Okay. So.
Well, it's okay because I have to open the public hearing, but I have one other question.
Yeah.
Mike, would this affect a farm where there's animals and sheep's making noises?
No, that's already in here, Denise.
All right,
It's already in
where
here.
is it? Am I missing it? It says about herding animals, but like Mike said, roosters.
Oh, I think that would be a separate ordinance, which I was going to work on.
Yeah, I
Chicken-
just want to make sure that we do know that farms can be noisy with
Yep.
animal noises.
So-
So I don't want this to affect that.
So 10.1, 10, section 10.1 is any animal, okay?
Mhm.
10.2 is just for dogs.
Okay. Okay. All right, at this time, before we make any other decisions, I'd like to open the public hearing. I don't know if you have anybody that wants to speak. Chris? Any of the attendees? Chris,
You're
Chris,
mute.
you're muted.
Jeez. We need that sign.
I have it. I wrote it.
Oh, we'll use it.
If there's anybody in the attendee waiting room who would like to speak on this ordinance while it is under discussion at the moment, please raise your hand. I'll ask again, if there is anybody in the attendee waiting room who would like to speak on this matter of the dog ordinance, please raise your hand. And for the last and final time, if anybody in the attendee waiting room would like to speak on this dog ordinance, please raise your hand. And if I'm not mistaken, we are going to continue this to a later date.
Well, I have to wait for the motion, so.
Okay, but that's just so that anybody on YouTube videos would know that as well too. That, so there is no raised hand. There's nobody that wants to speak that is at least acknowledged in that at the moment, Madam President.
Thank you. So what does the council want to do? Do I have a motion?
Madam President,
Yes,
I
Jay.
make a motion that we move this as an agenda item, not to the next meeting, but to the meeting following.
It would be continue, right, Mike?
Continue, yep. Continue the public hearing, correct, yeah.
So you don't want to do it at the December meeting? You want to do it in the January meeting?
Well, have we decided what our meeting schedule is going to be?
Our meeting is December 28th. It was voted on by the prior council.
So that's 2 weeks away.
Yes.
No, I would do it, I would move it by a month to give Don and all of us time to
Okay, well, that would
delve into
be,
this a little bit.
that would be January 11th.
Right.
That would give me some extra time, which I would need, because I'm gonna talk to Donna again, so.
So the motion is to continue this into the January 11th meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second it. I have no problem with that.
Okay, Donna. So I have a motion and a second to continue, excuse me, to continue the ordinance to January 11th. Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jay,
Okay.
Councilor Edwards, are you with me?
Who?
You.
Jay.
Yes or no, Jay?
Oh my
Okay,
God.
you gotta slap me, yes.
I don't know, people need coffee or something.
It's all right, Donna. This is all going to work out. Councilor Burke,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Thank you. Thank you, Donna, for all your work. This is coming along very nicely. Thank you.
Yeah. If you don't mind, I was while you're I was going to work on more of this section with many other things with Mike, but that would be up to the council.
Okay, well, if you want to propose it at our next meeting or put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, appointments and resignations. Litter Committee, 5-member board, 5-year term, 3 vacancies. Maureen Morrow, 47 Peaceful Way, requests reappointment to expire 10/15/2025. Before we appoint her, I need a motion to waive our policy to wait until the next meeting. This is a reappointment with 3 vacancies. So I just want to know if you all will agree to that. Councilor Edwards?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to waive our policy and appoint this evening. Now I would like a motion.
You gotta vote, you gotta vote.
Take a vote.
Yeah, Donna, I think we all need coffee. Joe?
Did I do something
Yes.
wrong?
No.
No.
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. I'm a little rusty at this. I haven't run meetings in a while, so bear with me. I'd like to have a motion to appoint Maureen.
So moved.
So moved.
Motion's been made by Councillor Burke, seconded by.
Second.
Motion's been made by Councillor Burke and seconded by Councillor Vieira. Thank you. Joe?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you. Congratulations, Maureen, and thank you for your service. Harbor Master, March 2020 to March 2021. Tyler Loomis, 89 John Duggan Road. Request annual reappointment with Harbor and Coastal Water Management Commission recommendation. I'd like to read the recommendation. I've been here since Tyler started at 18 years old. He grew into this position. He's done a fantastic job. And this is a letter from Bruce Cox, the chairman. Dear Administrator Carter, the commission voted unanimously to recommend the continued employment of Tyler Loomis as harbor master. He has continued to advance his education with added marine training through the course study required to become a certified response vessel in conjunction with the fire department. He maintains his CPR, AED, and first aid certification. Over the past year, he has filled the role as harbor master quite well. He continues to mature in this position very nicely. Again, this year, as in the past, the mooring renewal forms were sent out in a timely fashion, resulting in income stream from the community. Thus, he demonstrated an increased proficiency in the administrative aspects of the position, as well as known skills on the water. We are hopeful that his continued appointment will result in a long-term relationship to bring stability to the position. I'd like to entertain a motion.
Are we
So
doing,
moved.
we're doing a motion to,
We don't have to waive this policy because this is a harbor master position. I think I'm right, Mike, because it's only one application.
I think so, yes.
Okay. So do
I'll
I,
make that motion to reappoint Tyler Loomis.
Tyler?
Loomis. Do
Tyler
I,
Loomis
Second.
as the,
okay. Bill, you second it?
Second.
Joe,
yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Deb,
Enthusiastically, yes.
and Donna.
Yes.
And I have to say, he has done an unbelievable job in the last few years. Chris? You muted. You never have to tell you that. Go ahead.
Sorry. I just wanted to note that this appointment really is only for 3 months because it will end at the end of March 21. So this will be coming up again. I just don't want anybody to be surprised when you see it again. This was long overdue and it probably should have been done a long time ago. But
Okay.
unfortunately, it is what it is. So
Thank you. Okay, acknowledgements of resignations. William J. Vieira from the Art Council effective December 7th, 2020. Michael Dakotas from the Budget Committee effective November 17th, 2020. Deb Janik from the Budget Committee effective November 28th, 2020. Jennifer Joslin from the Budget Committee effective December 8th, 2020. We don't have to take any action on this because if we vote no, that they're going to resign anyway. So, okay. Councillor D. Madeiras, assignment of town council liaisons for boards and commissions. So you have that in front of you, I believe.
Yes.
And I'm sure you're all enthusiastic to
Yeah,
join.
I-
some of the-
Yeah, I know, may I ask for one of them?
Sure. So Donna, you're already on a few. You saw that, right?
Yeah, but the Harbor and Coastal has no one, and I was working with the Harbor Commission regarding the MOU, and I'd like to see that through.
Okay. Now, we can have more than one member on these as liaisons. So if somebody else is interested, and then that's fine also.
I like the co on the Harbor and Coastal, please.
Okay. Anything else, Bill?
For me, or we're
Yeah.
gonna go alphabetical order.
Well, because I have you now, well, I could go down the list. Why don't I do that? Is anyone interested in the Arts Council?
That would be me.
Okay. Anyone else? I'm the Budget Committee liaison. If anyone would like to join me, they're welcome.
I'll join you.
Okay.
I'll join you, Denise.
That would be really good, Deb. Canvassing Authority, that would be me. Cemetery would be Councillor Perry. If anybody wants to join any of these as I go on, tell me. Conservation Commission, we have an empty space. Bill?
Take that. I would like to take that, and I think Jay would also.
Okay. So Bill and Jay. Economic Development Committee, would anyone like to pick that one up?
I'd like to take that.
Hey, Mike. Harbor and Coastal, I have Donna and Bill. Historical Cemetery, I have Councillor Cook. Historic Preservation Advisory Board, Councillor Cook. Housing Authority. Would anyone
can
like
take-
Housing Authority?
I will take that.
Okay,
Just said that, Mike.
yeah.
Yes.
Juvenile Hearing Board.
I'd be interested in that, Denise.
Okay, Joe, thank you. This is a biggie, guys. Landfill and recycling.
I would, Deb, or Denise.
I'd be interested in that.
Okay, Joe. Library, it's it's Councillor D. Madeiras and Cook. Newport Chamber of Commerce. I don't remember this being one. No, right? No.
I think John Edwards was the last counselor on it.
Yeah, and I don't think we're very active as far as having a
I'd be happy to be involved with that for us.
yes. Open space.
I'll take that, Denise.
Jay, was that you?
Yep.
I'll take it also, Denise.
Okay. Personnel Board is Donna and I. Planning Board.
I'll do the planning board.
Does anyone want to join Deb?
Yeah, I will. I need to learn about that stuff.
Okay. Now, this is another big one, is police pension. John had this one. You do have to go to meetings on this one, right, Chris?
You do. We actually postponed the meeting that was to be held this week to the next quarter.
Anyone interested?
Are those meetings generally during the regular business day?
They are usually during a business day because our financial advisors come in during twice a year, and then we do it, obviously all of them are done by Zoom with the external people, but the police department, the council liaison and myself have done them here with Mary Lou by Zoom with the outside vendors.
If no one's interested, I'll take it, but if anyone decides to be interested in what?
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, Joe, okay.
I'll give it whatever. I'm kind of free during the day, except for a couple of mornings.
Okay. Recreation is Councillor Perry.
Joe, I'd be happy to tag team with you on that one since my undergraduate degree is in recreation. I know a little bit about it.
That might be helpful, Joe. The more the merrier over there.
Beautiful.
School committee is me and Councillor Perry. Tax assessor board of review. Anyone?
That'll be pretty important this year with the reval, so.
I know.
Is that a daytime one?
I'm not sure how that's been handled in the past.
Me either, to tell you the truth. I don't remember this being here, but.
No, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I'll do it as long as I'm off the day they do it.
Okay. And if not, I can handle it for you and invite, come back and, speak to the council about what happened.
Sure. The tree commission, Joe has that. Zoning board.
I'll do that.
I can do that unless you got too many of them.
I'll do that with you, Jay. We can do zoning and planning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And then we have the negotiation teams, which was appointed by the council. But I think we can wait on that until, where's Chris? He left me.
Do any of us new members have any negotiating experience with unions?
Yeah.
Well, I did the Teamsters and.
Donnie, you did
What was
the
the other
fire,
one?
didn't you?
What was it? What did you say?
Did you do the fire department?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
So
Well, the reason I ask is I have absolutely no experience in that area.
Well, I mean,
so when I did it, another counselor did it with me. I believe that when Donna did it, she had
Justin and Nancy, I think.
Right,
It was
Justin.
yeah.
This isn't what this is a council presence there.
Yeah.
Chris is the chief negotiator, along with Tim Cavassa. And it's a council presence in case they have council specific questions. And of course, we all talk about it in executive. So we kind of give them guidelines of what the council was looking for to kind of support Chris and the lawyer. I'm not sure what two are up. Chris, what two are up?
So police will be coming up quickly.
Wow, it feels like we just did that.
Teamsters and the IAF, the F will be next year, I believe.
Okay.
So I don't know where ASME is. That's the one I haven't looked at that.
Ask me, we just did, but that doesn't, well, no, we did it, I was involved. It was like 2 summers ago. Maybe that is coming up.
So I haven't even met her yet, the chief, the local union rep. I do have to, meet out with them, but I do need to take a look and see where they are. Because I haven't had any issues with them either, so
Yeah, right now.
Quiet, keep it quiet.
Right now, wait until you go into negotiations. So this is a during the day thing, guys. It can take, like, a meeting can go 4 hours.
Yeah.
So it would be police, and I think ASME definitely.
Well, I'd be willing to do it with you, Denise, on the different negotiation teams, whether it's police, fire department, ASME, or Teamsters, because I'm a little familiar with it a little bit.
Okay.
It's,
And then, of course, if somebody else wants to come along and learn, it wouldn't be a quorum if you had 3 just to watch. So that has happened in the past too. And you really do learn a lot just listening to them. And it's kind of funny to hear it from their perspective. And of course, you don't really contribute much unless asked, because you are not the chief negotiator. But of course, sometimes you are asked. Bill, do you have your hand up? Yeah. Bill, believe it or not, I'm looking at you and your hand is up.
That's Jay.
No, that's Jay.
Oh, I might have. All right, so I'll make a comment that I'm fully retired, so I am available during the day for these kinds of things.
All right, so we'll keep you in mind also. And like, I don't have to do all of them. I do work full time, but I do have every Tuesday off. But there's some I can't make, so we can keep like the 3 of us in the loop. Does that sound all right with everybody? Okay.
The three of us is Jay, you and myself. Is that
Yes,
what?
for now,
All
and
right.
that can change.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anything else? Thank you, everybody. Councillor Madeiras, discussion of vacancies on various boards and commissions. I did talk to Nancy, and I think Jeannie was there when I talked to her. All these have been advertised, correct, Jeannie?
That's correct. I believe we advertised these in October.
Okay, so, and we do have some applications?
We have one or two coming up for the next meeting,
Okay,
but not much.
all right.
The
This has
deadline
been
that
a-
was given for that, I think, was December 7th.
Excuse
That's
me?
correct.
Deadline was December 7th, so I don't know if folks know that they could still apply.
Thank you, Mike.
Council President,
Yes.
if we put on there, it's a six-figure job, I'll bet you we'll get a lot of response. Even though it's all zeros, just don't tell them that, right?
That boy, Joe.
Yeah, I don't know.
You just
Joe.
don't,
I
that's
think we're
it.
in trouble our first time out.
Well, that's what I do at basketball. I tell them it's a six-figure job. I get a lot of volunteers. And then when they find out it's all zeros, they get upset.
I like it.
So there's some of these that do have quite a bit of vacancies. So we can always re-advertise, but why don't we wait to see what we get in? And then we'll put it on another agenda after we interview the applicants, appoint, and then we might have to re-advertise again. Joe?
I was going to say, Madam President, if we all out in the public speak to people about getting on these boards, maybe that'll help get some interest too, because I know I talked to some people during the course of the day and asked them to volunteer for different things. That's how I got some people on recreation. I think if we just get out there and we promote it, we probably can get some people. So I think if we all, pitch in and do that on our time, it might help all.
Yeah, and I spoke to two people, actually one called my house, and I spoke to another that were interested in the library board of trustees. I don't know if they've applied yet, but I'll reach out to them again. Anything else with this item?
Can I just ask on the Building Code Board of Appeals, what's PE position mean?
No engineer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's someone in the community that can fill that position. And we have had people there.
Now that's like, they get like $100,000 a year or more. So you're asking them to do it. Well, we'll go with Joe. It's a three-figure.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Chris, did you want to say something? No,
No.
I thought I saw you. Okay. All right, thank you. And we'll put, so Jeannie, we will put this on the next agenda, the people that have applied.
Yes.
Oh, there's Joan. I did discuss this with Nancy and Jeannie earlier. Okay, Councillor Madeiras, advertised for 3 vacant budget committee positions for unexpired terms, 11/8/2022. And I'm going to, according to the charter, this is how we have to do this. The write-ins were for positions that were open at the time. Now we have 3 positions from people who have left because of other things. So we just need a motion to advertise for these 3 budget committee positions.
I'll make a motion to advertise for the 3 budget committee positions
I'll second.
to the unexpired terms of 11/8/2022.
I'll second.
Okay, so motion's been made in second. Joe?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Mike? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you.
Madam President, this is Mike. I'm sorry.
Did I do that?
No, is there a deadline with the advertisement? You know, they need to apply by a certain date. I don't know if we just do that by practice or we need to put that in the motion. I don't remember how we've done this in the past.
Yeah, I don't think we put that in the motion. I think that Nancy's policy has been running them. They run for like a week, like 2 weeks. She
Okay.
makes the deadline. She's always made the deadline. So Joan can certainly look up
Okay.
what her deadline.
I was just
has
concerned
been.
with the holidays being around, you might want to extend that deadline a little
Yeah,
bit.
to do it like the middle of January. Okay,
Right
thank-
now, it's set for January 6th.
Correct.
So if you need to move that out a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but the budget committee is going to be starting to meet.
Yeah, they're gonna be starting, so we better leave it January 6th.
Okay.
Okay, DPW Director Rogers, approval to expend funds from account 5530-7645 for bulldozer repairs,
Yeah.
estimate 34,510.
Denise, can I say something regarding the last item?
Yes, Bill.
I read in the charter, I think we all have to meet by a January deadline too, the first informal meeting. That's another issue. All departments or whatever have to meet.
Council, budget, school.
The joint meeting.
Yeah.
The joint meeting.
Well, what happened, if I may, is that because they didn't certify until what, November 30th, we ended up not being able to meet and do the oath until the 14th, which had to be the next regular meeting. So I think this is why there's a juggernaut on that. I don't know how to fix it. I know what you're saying, Bill. I don't know how to fix it, though.
Wait a minute, the joint meeting is usually in January.
Yes, right.
Yes.
So we can still.
Mid-January, I think the charter says mid-January.
Right. Well, my
Yeah.
thought is that the budget committee will still have a quorum. So if it has to be done, they can still meet and come to that meeting because they'll have 3 absent people, but we could still have that meeting without those 3 people. And of course, they could watch and the budget committee could fill them in. So I don't think that would be a problem because they'd still have a quorum.
It's really an informational meeting.
Yeah,
There's
it's
not
really
there's
10
no
seconds.
votes or anything.
Not a lot going on, no.
No,
Nothing gets decided. It's just meet and greet.
it's just to say hello. Okay, DPW Director Rogers, approval to expend funds. Oh, I already said this, accountant 5530-7645 for bulldozer repairs. And is this an estimation of $34,510, Chris?
Yes.
Okay.
We have quoted information behind in your backup, and there are a limited number of items that Rick and his staff can do internally off of those quotes. So this is the best estimate that we have currently. Rick's on right now. Like, he can address this a little bit further.
Yeah, thank you, Chris and Denise. The estimate does lay out quite a few things that are going to be done. One important point, though, is when they do the quote and they reviewed the dozer a couple of times at the DPW yard, there are things that are hidden. So there is the chance that some items may increase based on unseen parts that have failed or need replacing or repairing.
So the second part of this puzzle, just so that you're clear, we did have the monies to deal with this last year, but because we were very unsure as to whether or not we were going to be able to continue with the landfill and because of the loss of gaming revenues, we stopped all these expenditures until we knew for sure what we were doing. We now have a comfort level that the DEM will grant us. They've given us a temporary license to the end of the month, and I believe it may be extended one more time while they work through the particulars, because it is a lot to do to get this cap reconfigured. But it looks like we'll be getting 15,000 tons per year, which is about 30,000 tons. So hopefully we'll get 2 years out of the extension of this. So we would be dead in the water if we don't have a replacement piece of equipment to deal at the landfill. So while it is very expensive, it is a critical piece to keep moving trash on that landfill. And as it stands today, Rick can also double check and validate this. We do have some issues with the primary bulldozer that will ultimately also need to be nowhere near as extensive of this, but it is in need of some minor repairs as well. So without a backup, and we've looked all over to find out if there's any possibility of leasing something. There is nothing in this category. They don't even make this kind of equipment anymore. We would have to look for a totally different piece of equipment. And again, I'll defer to Rick and let him explain further, but this is a critical expenditure.
I have a question. What account is that 5530? I don't have a budget in front of me.
That's
Under
landfill,
It
Denise?
is landfill.
That is landfill?
Yes.
Okay.
Madam President,
Yes, Jeff.
I'd like to make a motion that we grant permission to expend $34,510 from account 55307645 bulldozer repairs.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? Jay?
I have a question. What happens if this amount gets exceeded? Do we allow them to spend up to the amount that's in the account, or do we have to approve it again?
I would say they'd have to come back. Yeah.
So we couldn't say we could not approve an expenditure of up to, but not over 40,000?
You could.
Probably,
You could.
probably could amend it. Yep.
What's in that account?
40,000.
Well, currently there's 30, if I may, this is Rick, 37,912 as of the writing of this on 12/3, which is 11 days ago. But to my knowledge, we haven't expended any funds since then. So there was, and I think still is, $37,912 left in that account 5530-7645.
So we couldn't go to 40. There's not 40.
No. But can we move to do the 37,912?
Could change that motion to say not to exceed 37,000. Is that a possibility, Madam President?
Well, it'd have to be an amendment, right, Mike?
Yes.
So
So I'll amend that to say not to exceed the 37,000. What's the final 37 what?
why don't we just say 37, round it to 37?
All right, not to exceed $37,000.
Well,
Wait a minute, Donna, I'm gonna have a
Yeah.
second. Anybody second that?
I second that.
Okay, all right, Donna, discussion.
well, I'm not understanding why we're increasing it when this is an estimate. Usually an estimate is what it's supposed to be. I haven't run into where it's gone over before. I don't understand. Would they then try to make it cost that much because they know it's more money?
Oh, I don't know.
Mike.
So my example is a personal one. When we had our deck done a few years ago, we had we ended up having a lot of cost overruns because you couldn't tell how much granite was having to be blasted away to put the posts in. And similar, when you take your car in for something, you may, if it's a major repair, they may not see something that's behind that wheel well, for example. And I think that's what we're talking about. And I would have to put faith in our director to make sure that anything that is a cost overrun is, he discusses it with them and is very clear that it's something that has to be done.
Okay, I got another question. I'm seeing that it's 34,510, but then when I look on the last page, it's saying $35,646.24. Why are there two different? Why asking for less than what the estimate says in the first place? I don't get it.
If I may, Donna, this is Rick. There's approximately $2,037 or something along those lines of work that DPW feels that they can do out of that $35,646 estimate, and that is to repair the bucket and the floodlights.
So, if I can ask you, Rick, do you need the extra money when it looks like you're doing some of the repairs in-house?
Yes, I think the $37,000 amendment is a good idea because, as mentioned in the beginning of the conversation, there's a possibility for parts, et cetera, that are not anticipated right now. And it does mention that in the quote from Milton Cat, because they're not going to necessarily see everything without taking things apart.
All right, thank you, Rick.
Anyone else? So the motion is to approve to expend funds from landfill account 5530-7645 for bulldozer repairs not to exceed 37,000. Is that correct?
But if I'm correct, Madam President, we have to vote on the amendment first and then on the regular motion if the amendment.
Right. So
depending on how the.
Mike Marcello, so I
wanted to ask a question about, I
I'm
thought
sorry.
we just said
Okay, wait a minute.
37,912.
Yeah, Donna, just wait 1 second. So Mike, what do you advise?
I'm sorry, I thought, I understood that it was, he withdrew the original
Right.
motion. He's going to amend the motion.
Oh, I didn't understand that. Okay.
That's how I interpreted it, you know.
Yeah. Okay, Donna, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry, you can't see me anyway. I'm being traumatized over here. Okay. Well, was it 37,000 or was it 37,912?
Well, we decided to just round it off, I think, and make it 37.
So you're just going to leave $912 in there? You might need that too. I don't know. That doesn't, just make it a zero in there. I mean, just close it out, I guess, on the, if they don't use it, they don't use it.
They don't use it, it'll go back there anyway, but.
Yeah.
Well, the motion was 37,000.
All right. Well.
Okay. So I have a motion in a second. Joe?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Donna?
Yeah.
And I'm a yes. It's really funny. Just now you all switched positions, so I wasn't even sure who I asked. Okay. So I didn't skip anyone, right? Okay. I don't know why that does that.
I don't either.
But it just did it. You're all in different positions right now.
No, I'm still at the top with no face.
No, Don, actually, you moved up a little on my screen.
Oh, I did? Okay.
Yeah. All right, Town Administrator, authority to renew MTG Disposable LLC contract from 12/14/20 through 12/21/22 as allowed per contract at the town's discretion. I just have one question.
Sure.
I didn't get the real, did anyone get a contract? Like the real contract?
Not, we did
I
get
got a lot of
numbers.
backup, but like the whole contract where it has
No.
detail on everything.
No, what we provided was the financial data that came out of that contract. Because the
Yeah,
rest
but
of
I
it,
think that the new councilors probably need, I don't know how you all feel, but that contract is very specific to certain things that we asked for. I don't know if you want to see that.
I can have it dug up and sent to you. The only issue with this is that the contract ended yesterday. Which is, you know, this is.
Yeah.
And Rick and I did, as you know, the best that we could, you know, under the circumstances, but we did confirm that our monthly rate was $58,661.45. That excludes any of the carrying costs for the first year of that contract that was carried for 2 years for the not having the money available in year one. So that comes out to about $703,000. That was for this year. Up through June 14th for the past 12 months, up, you know, till last night. To move forward, they would be taking that and adding 1.9% as a COLA for each of the next 2 years. And we did extend it to not end on like a December 14th. We wanted to end at the end of a month, so it would be at the end of December of 2021 and December of 2022. It just seemed to be an oddball that it was, why it was on the 14th was beyond me, but it should have, we're just trying to clean it up a little bit so that we could project better. I heard that there might be some concerns as to whether or not we should go for 2 years. So we went back to them and said, look, if the council doesn't want to go for a 2-year extension, they only want to go for a 1 year, what would that be? And they recalculated based on a different CPI adjustment. And that would be, I think, it's 755,000 versus 717,000. So I think the 2 year, in my opinion, the 2 year, works out more financially better for the community than sticking to a 1 year. But it's, I can see if they'll extend for another 2 weeks until we get you, the contract in front of you, the language. I didn't realize that was going to be an issue. We were really just focusing more on the financial end of it. And I do know that Rick has done an extensive amount of work on the finances as well. We've had them on numerous phone calls to try to pin this down. And that was more important to us than some of the boilerplate language.
Also, if I may add, Denise and Chris, Chris and I have been working on this for months. This didn't just come up, but there's various complications. One is that MEGA was bought out by Waste Connections, which is at least East Coast firm. And also, I'm sure Corona had something to do with some slowness in response. But this has been negotiated back and forth and discussed for different elements for more than a couple of months now.
Yeah, I understand that, but I just feel that I do know it's a complicated contract, and I don't know. I don't remember everything that's in there, and we are approving it. How do the rest of you feel? Did someone have their hand up, Mike?
A couple things. One is, well, I do appreciate and would like to have a copy of the contract. I don't know that that's going to change my mind on this at this point, because I think it is a necessity. And it sounds like we're maintaining status quo in terms of the items in the contract. The second piece is, it looks like, if I'm reading this right, for at least the year through, okay, no, that's 6 months. So I'm trying to figure out what the annual cost increase is for it, or decrease.
It's what they're proposing is you mean going forward would be 1.9%. And I did have difficulty trying to figure out what it had been from the past. It was 2.4%.
So from a dollar perspective, what's the comparable annual cost difference?
I'm not sure I understand what comparable annual cost difference means.
Well, in terms of what we were paying on an annual basis
last time
to what we're doing now with this.
You mean the contract prior to Mega, or?
No, the contract that ends yesterday.
So
what was the rate last year? I think that's what Mike's asking.
703,937 is what the monthly base rate comes out to times 12.
And this is 766.
So we're talking.
And this is 766,312 for a 2 year period, 2 and 2 weeks.
Well, the total.
It's not showing how much it really went up, though.
Wait a minute.
I'd like to, thank you, Chris. So what I'm looking at is the summary sheet dated 12/8. At the bottom of it, it says total for the time period 766,312. So that's for the 2 years plus the 2 weeks, correct?
That would be the second year of the 2 years.
The second year of the 2 years.
Yes, it would be 717 for the first year and 766,312 for the second year.
Okay.
And it's 12 months and 12 and a half months.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Donna?
Thank you. I'm getting a difference of, I'm not a math whiz, but anyway, I'm getting that it actually went up $48,999.64. Is that correct?
Something like that, I believe.
Okay.
I didn't subtract it myself, but did anyone? And then the next year, you see that it went up over 60,000. Jay?
I did the total rate. I did the, subtracted from the total rate from 766, 312 to 717, 312, 36 was close to $49,000 difference. That's what I did.
Jay?
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, at the FTR, we approved $738,400 for trash pickup, correct?
Right.
And unless I'm totally screwing my math up, this contract through June 30th of 21, we're going to be paying about $39,000 and change less than was budgeted.
Yeah, no, it'd be,
You have to factor in that there was an approximate $4,700 a month, if I may, for the deferred payment. And that came out to something along the lines of 28, I might have been 56,000 per year, 56,400 per year. So that's one reason it decreased in terms of relative to no deferred payment after this month.
You
Yeah,
understand that, Jay?
the deferred payment vanishes after this month.
right.
Correct.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, okay.
And you have to add in order to get it on an annual basis, you have to add in the 2 weeks remaining in this year and then a full year next year. So that, it does complicate things a little bit. It's not apples to apples, but it is significantly within the budget. And
Right.
it's only a 1.9% increase. So you have to factor all those things into the equation.
So the bottom line is the budgeted amount is more than enough to cover the cost.
Yes.
Anyone else?
And also, if I may, I believe it was Mike's question and Denise's in terms of any kind of change in the language. There is still a renegotiation clause in this one and in the old one that when the landfill closes, we'd have to negotiate that. And the second of two things is that the town will take on the burden of wet recycle rejection loads for the first two of those in a calendar year. And that was because we have open bins. So that was negotiated with MEGA also. Just put that in terms of perspective overall on a 700,000 plus contract. The 4 rejected loads that we had in 2019 were along the lines of 400, 400, and 800 or so. So on average, it might cost $1,200, and that's not bad on a $700,000 plus contract. And that was a sticking point that the town had with MEGA, that they really weren't comfortable going forward. And it's a fairly rare clause, is my understanding. Most towns are not allowed to do that. And again, it's the wet recycle loads, and they cannot control that because most of the bins that you see out there are open top. And you could get a closed top, but the recycle bins that we purchase from Rhode Island Resource Recovery Corporation and resell to the citizens are open top. So that's in my opinion, obviously, that was a very fair compromise with MEGA.
I just want to put it out there that we have had problems with MEGA, but we also had problems with our other trash before MEGA, and Chris can speak on this also. The problems that we have had, he's addressed it with the owner, and they were taking some really outrageous problems, the worst problems, and the owner did react very quickly and took care of that. But I know that people out there have problems, but quite frankly, it's difficult to pick up trash, and we really, every trash company we've had, there's been some incident.
So on that point, I mean, we did do somewhat of a comparative analysis to what we had when we had Patriot. While we do have more complaints this year, you also have to take into consideration with the COVID virus, a lot of people are at home. And when this thing first started, a lot of people emptied out their basements, their garages and their attics, and there was a lot of trash being moved. And I'm not, begrudging any of that, but because there are more people home, they see things much more clearly than, that they did when they were working. And I'm not making excuses for the trash company. I'm just saying you probably didn't see it when you were working, when Patriot was doing the same thing. So the comparative amount of complaints we get are about the same. And we hear that across the state with every city and town with the same issues that don't have closed containers to go, and it's, at this point, I know that we did have a comment earlier, and, I don't want to bring that comment up, but at some point, if we are going to look at going out to rebid totally, it would probably behoove us to look at trying to do something of a larger container with a lid on it, because it would mitigate some of the trash around town. It would mitigate many of the complaints, but it is, based on what we have today, we're going to continue seeing these kind of complaints. And they do the best that they can, but the wind kills us with these open containers, the rains kill us. It's very, very difficult. But the really bad problems that we had with the employees have been mitigated with the owner. He was very, very receptive. And any complaints that we have a mechanism to talk with them and try to work out the issues. Rick's office does work daily on trash with that vendor. They have a methodology on how they deal with the different types of complaints. It is, part and parcel of picking up trash. It's just part of the business.
And also, if I may, Denise and Chris, just give a little plug for proper recycling and the availability of recycled containers with lids. We sell about 750 to maybe 850 bins a year, and we give people the handouts on proper recycling, and also we tell people up front that they may purchase a bin of their choosing at various locations, Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, with lids, with wheels, or without. So we do tell people that, and some people take us up on that offer. And the important point on that is they're allowed to do that, and only two criteria have to be followed. One, 35 gallons or less, and two, that they're clearly marked recycle. So there certainly is the opportunity for every resident, if they wish to do so, to have a covered lid. And the more people who participate in that, then the less litter would be around.
Thank you, Rick. Deb, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, well, what I was going to say is, did you, Chris and or Rick, did you do any comparison between companies? I think we're kind of late to do that now, but did you compare at all?
We did not, because we do know that when we went out to bid the last time, that Mega was much more reasonable than any of the other bidders. We do know that their major competitor has been purchased by the conglomerate that bought Mega. They're at the same company now. So we fully expect if we went out to full bid, the price would be much higher than what they're proposing here. They have the resources in place. They're working now. They have the
Party.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, but if we went out to bid, we believe it would be higher.
Because I know that when we looked last time, we had talked about the trucks with just one driver, so the cost is a little bit less. You only have one driver, but doing like the automated pickup with the big bins, and I think the the cost of the bins was what was usually prohibitive at that time.
That is true. And because I've talked to Rick about potentially going that route. We are not at all geared to do that. It would take a lot of action on behalf of the town to figure out a methodology on how to do that. Whether it be forcing parking to one side of a street. We have, right now, it would be a nightmare to try to implement that, let alone the cost of the bins. Just mechanically on where you would situate them. How do you deal with, tenants and, larger buildings? We don't have that kind of thought process put in place to make that change immediately. It is something we definitely have to look at, though. I do think that it would be cheaper in the long run once you get over the cost of buying the bins. But to stay, for the same type of services today, if we were to go out and do what we're doing now with 2 people on a truck, it would actually cost more, we believe, if we went out to bid.
Mike.
I move we approve the extension of the contract with Mega MTG as described in their letter of December 7th, with the total annual rate for the first year of $717,312.36, and the second year and a half a month of $766,312.
Second.
Any further discussion? Joe, I saw your hand up before.
I was going to comment on the larger bins. We had tried this a couple of years ago, and we had a lot of the residents stating that they had long driveways and laneways and hills that it would be too tough for them to wheelie barrels up. So that's one of the reasons why we got away from that. But it may be something we may have to look at in the future.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Joe?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Stay
you,
on,
Rick.
yeah.
Thank you, Rick.
Rick, stick around though for later, okay?
Yes, certainly.
Okay, thank you. Town administrator approval of police chief Jones employment contract December 14th, 2020 and ending December 13, 2020. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to table this till after the executive session.
So moved.
Make a motion for a second.
I have a motion in a second. Joe?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
And Donna?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you. Town administrator, approval to advertise position and hire laborer position at DPW landfill.
So,
go ahead.
excuse me. So we have been down a position since late May, I think, Rick, when we lost our foreman. We have been paying the staff to be out of rank at the moment. We did not fill a position until such time that we were confident that our budget would pass, because we had really no idea where we were going to be with any kind of aid from the state, the gaming, the whole issue. So we did keep all of our vacant positions vacant up until that point in time. October has come, November's come, and it's, I know the snow season's on its way here, and it does make sense at this point to try to get that staff back to full, because we are going to need snowplow truck drivers, internally. We should probably replace, at least give the person who has the position at the landfill as the newest person. I don't know how long ago Rick could explain when he was hired, but an opportunity to come out of the landfill and to work with the staff on normal day-to-day maintenance. So it would be our lowest position in the department, but it is a vital position at this point. And I think at this time we are confident that we can make it through the year and have a full complement of staff. And go through after this hire, we would go through the process of fully implementing our foreman, our lead people, and making them more permanent. So.
All right, I have a couple of questions, kind of like housekeeping questions in a way.
Sure.
What position are we really hiring for? Because I'm looking at the contract and I'm looking at the different positions. Which one is the one that we're actually hiring for?
The one at the landfill.
Is the landfill attendant?
Yes.
So we should advertise it as the landfill attendant, correct? When we put an advertisement out?
Right. What I would like to do, so there is no miscommunication on as far as applicants go, because there was a source of questions on the last hire, which was last December, actually. And it would be a landfill attendant who also works as a truck driver laborer, because as Chris pointed out, the landfill attendant works Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays as a landfill attendant, but he works as a truck driver laborer on Wednesdays and Fridays, and of course, on snow and sand events. And basically how it works out, for better or worse, there's no real demand for the crew members to want to be landfill attendant. And a lot of that is predicated upon the Saturday demand for your time. So what usually is happening lately is nobody wants it, so the low man on a totem pole gets it. So you have to hire a landfill attendant / truck driver laborer, but it would be best to advertise it so people know up front that it's going to be mostly landfill attendant.
All right, all right, so this is my question. So I need to ask this question. When we advertise, well, when we do contracts, we go through the different positions, and the union goes through that with us. And there's also job descriptions for each one of these that I believe is in Chris's office.
Yep.
Because the union agrees on these job descriptions. So when you advertise this, I think it should be advertised as the landfill attendant, unless the job description says something different.
That's what the posting that is included in the backup states. It is.
So it'll just be landfill attendant.
I'll have my hand up after Joe.
Yeah, all right. And then the job description that you gave us, is that a different description than what the description is now?
No, it's a description of the job because it is not every day. It is the 3 days he's at the landfill and the 2 days that he does other duties besides being the attendant at the landfill. So it's a combination, and the union is well aware of it.
That was my next question. Right. So the union's well aware, because I was looking at this job description, and I'll be honest, something stuck out to me that was a little odd. Why is he cleaning the bathrooms? Because our maintenance guys are supposed to clean all the facilities. So I thought that was a little odd. A truck driver is gonna clean the bathrooms. And I don't know if that's the original job description.
This is the job description I had on file, so I'm.
It says the bathrooms, really?
Well, I don't know if, see, our maintenance people aren't there on Saturdays. So I don't know if, that's something that they have to do when they come into I don't know.
All right, as long as this is what you had on file.
No, I didn't create this. This is.
Okay.
Wow.
Because I'm looking at this and he's going to drive trucks and run the landfill and then clean the bathroom on his spare time. I just thought it was a little weird. But that's okay. Thank you. And I just wanted to clarify that the union's aware that we didn't change the job description.
No, we did not.
Okay, Joe?
Yeah, I have two questions, Madam President. Number one, is this a union position, number one?
Yes.
And number two, if someone leaves the DPW, the next hiree, would he be a landfill / driver? Does it go by the low man on the totem pole, or does it go by filling the position that was vacated?
I believe, no, it goes by the position that we would be saying that the landfill attendant position would be vacated. we would allow that person who's there now to move
Move
up.
up.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Yes, because don't they bid for these jobs and then
They do.
get it? Okay.
Well, that's what I was concerned about, because it's a union position. I'm sure that that would be, a violation of the contract if we didn't do that. That's why I was asking.
So the union also gave us permission to waive the internal posting for it, because they recognize it as well too.
Okay. All right. Any further questions?
Um,
Mike?
Well,
I
I
had a
had my
question.
hand up.
Oh, go
Oh,
ahead,
I'm
Donna.
sorry,
Yeah,
Donna.
Donna, no, Donna had asked before. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Don. I can't see your hand. Go ahead.
You don't have to rub it in, Denise. All right. Running around with everything because I couldn't get on the other one. My question is that a person's a landfill attendant, is that a different pay grade than someone that's doing the trucks with a special, they have to have a certain license? Do they get paid more? I thought when we were doing the Teamsters that they got extra pay and had to go for extra training and safety training. I don't know if it's a good fit with all of this. It doesn't make any sense to me. He's a landfill attendant, but he's also doing trucks and he's also cleaning the bathrooms.
He's doing that now, right?
Yes. So the landfill attendant is required to have a CDL license so he can operate trucks. At times they bring a dump truck down there with other trash from around the community, or they may be out on the days that they're not at the landfill. Maybe they're using a large truck to go pick up couches, chairs, yard debris, things of that nature. So that he has other responsibilities besides being at the landfill. And
All right,
one
is
of
it
them
the
is driving
same
a truck.
rate of pay? Is
The
it
pay
the
would be
same?
the same as a truck driver laborer.
Okay, thank you.
And if I may, that's actually negotiated with the union.
Yes.
And that contract was just renewed, from June 2019 to July 2019 to June 30th, 2022. And the listings that are in the contract agreement are truck driver, laborer, and landfill attendant, the same rate.
Correct.
Yeah, and also the mechanic helper gets the same rate. I'm looking at it.
Yep.
Madam President, I'll make a motion to approve the advertising the position for a DPW landfill laborer.
Do I have a second?
President, I'll second that. I just have a comment.
Yep. Any
yeah,
further
that's right.
discussion? Go ahead, Mike.
Just an observation for the future when we're negotiating. If we could look to change some of our language from lead man to lead person and foreman to foreperson, because I'm sure there are women who can fill these positions too.
I agree. I didn't write these contracts.
I know.
I will say we do not discriminate in our employment practices, but it's a fair point and they do need to be corrected.
And also, if I may, and this might be a question for Mike, if I heard correctly, it was a motion to approve to advertise, but I believe that we're looking for approval to advertise the position and hire.
So
That's what I said, Rick. I did say advertise and hire.
it will go to the personnel board. It will do all the things that is required to go through a hiring process.
Thank you, Joe. My apologies.
That's okay. Not a problem.
Any further discussion? Okay, Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Deb. Deb, you're on mute.
Sorry, yes.
Donna,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Thank you.
Hey, Rick, will he be on for the snowstorm Wednesday?
No.
Not sure about
Come
that,
on, let's go.
but thank you all.
All right, you're
Thank you.
welcome, Rick. Thank you.
Thanks,
You're
Rick.
welcome, Rick. Do a good job.
Town Solicitor, approval of Derpy Cemetery Agreement continued from November 23rd meeting.
Thank you, Madam President. As you know, well, as you may recall, at least from the holdover council members, this was on the agenda last meeting, but it was not approved because we failed to get the actual agreement. This is an agreement that's been negotiated between myself, the town treasurer, and the trustees of the Derpy Family Cemetery. And when I first became solicitor, it's my general proposition that the town really shouldn't be holding accounts for anybody or any group. And that was my initial position. But for doing further research, we found that this cemetery is actually owned by the town. And through the history that's on this agreement, you can see that at some point the town decided to take over, or at least to be a depository of these funds. But unfortunately, there was no really agreement about how these funds were to be used or how they were going to be accounted for. And I just didn't feel comfortable taking it over without a signed agreement. Apparently, one of the family members died recently, and there was a probate estate, and $10,000 was donated for the perpetual care of the cemetery. And we just wanted to make sure that we documented how that money could be used and would be used. It's all spelled out in the agreement. It's pretty straightforward, but it is the first time that we actually have an agreement so that we can go back. So there's, maybe 10 years or 20 years from now, someone won't say, what is this money for and how do I use it and whatnot. So it's just try to get rid of some of the confusion or clarify the relationship between the town, the cemetery heirs, and the people who donate to it.
Any questions? I'd like to entertain a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approval of the Derpy Cemetery Agreement as written.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Joe?
Yes.
I think Mr. Edwards had a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, my question won't affect the vote, so can I ask it after?
Well, I want to ask it now because it could affect the vote if your good question is so good.
Well,
and we know all you.
In my 4 years on the budget committee, I never once heard of the perpetual care account. And I assume that the expendable care account is a new creation, correct?
Just for this cemetery, yes.
So what's the account number for the perpetual care account?
I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know that.
No, I don't know that.
These things pop up from time to time, and I always sit there going, where'd that come from?
It's probably in the audit. It's probably in the audit.
Yeah, it probably is, Donna, but Chris
somewhere.
Chris.
All right, so continue with the vote.
I was just going to say there are a number of accounts that the treasurer has that the budget committee would not be purview of because they have specific restrictions to them.
Just one of those many restricted accounts.
Yeah, it's in the audit, though. If you look at the audit, you can't believe what's there. There's like a rabid dog account, too.
That ought to drive you.
Honest to God, I it's into it. Okay, so I'm going to take the vote. Joe, you're on mute. Joe? Yeah, could somebody, you are.
Yes. Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Jay?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
Donna?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you. Town Solicitor, approval of executive order declaring Tiverton state of emergency with newly elected town council president's signature.
Thank you. So, Madam President, members of the town council, as you may be aware, in March, the governor cleared the state of emergency for the state of Rhode Island and asked the 39 cities and towns to do the same. With that, it vests certain powers with the chief administrative officer of the town. Every town has done so. Because the town just went through an election and we changed council presidents, I just thought it would be a good idea for housekeeping purposes to have the new council president to execute a new declaration of state of emergency. So there's no question as to, unfortunately, if we need it in the future, if we need to take some kind of immediate action, that we have the proper authority to do so. And that could range from anything from, closing town hall completely, or anything that you've read about in the paper that says some of the cities and towns have done. Hopefully we're on the downside of this pandemic and the vaccine will be coming, and hopefully by the spring we'll be off of this. But it really is just preserve our rights under the statute to act quickly if we have to. But because we have a new council president, I just want to make sure that this council had a chance to weigh in on it and approve that authority.
I'll make that in a form of a motion to approve the executive order declaring the Tiverton state of emergency with the newly elected town council president's signature.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay, Chris had his hand up and then Deb. Chris,
I just want to make sure that one of the key focal points that I have concern about is if we're not under a state of emergency, we may not qualify for reimbursement. So
yes,
this is important to move forward, just so that we don't lose our rights to collect any of the potential federal monies that are out there.
Deb,
Got it.
That was actually my question was, would this help us collect COVID money?
It most certainly does.
Okay.
all right, so I have a motion and a second. Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
I'm a yes. And Joan, I'll stop by the office tomorrow and sign it, okay? I'm off tomorrow, so I'll stop by.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great, thanks.
Okay. Announcements, comments, and discussion. I have one, Councillor D. Madeiras pays you throw trash bag amnesty from Saturday, December 26th and ending Thursday, December 31st. This is voted on the previous council in October, I believe, and this is just a reminder. And correct me if I'm wrong, Chris or Rick, it's two trash bags per household.
Correct.
Okay. And people really like this, so
Yes.
that's why I'm reminding them.
They do get a lot of trash during the holiday. It is appropriate.
Oh, it is. Okay, solicitor, Justin Katz via Town of Tiverton et al.
This is just to inform the council, this suit has been filed approximately 120 days ago. No action has been taken on it. No service has been made upon any party, but recently, within the last week, I think that on 12/4, service was made at least upon the town. I just wanted to let you know that. So we'll be defending this case, and I'll give you more detail as we go along.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Now we'll enter executive session. I just want to say for the record, 13A will be continued, will be tabled until the next meeting. It was not advertised quite correctly. So to make sure that we dot every I and cross every T, we are gonna put that on the December 28th meeting. I did talk to Donna about it and she was okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can I please ask for a 5-minute break?
Yes, what I'm going to do is we'll go into executive. We'll go into executive and then
Potty break. I don't know what to say.
and then we'll take a 5-minute break because they have to, Andrew has to
Recess.
YouTube and all of that. So right now I'd like to entertain a motion to go into executive session. Town Administrative 42465A1, personnel job performance, annual evaluation, year-end review, Police Chief Patrick Jones, notice given.
Second,
Make a
yes.
motion, we do those things.
Second, yes.
So I have a motion and a second. Joe, yes.
Yes.
Joe,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Donna.
Yes.
We're now in executive session and we'll take executive.
Correct.
Okay.
Just take another vote just to do it publicly, yeah. Otherwise, there's no confusion.
Yeah.
You're all set.
The recording's still paused? There it goes. All right. Okay, we're good.
We're now in open session. In executive session, we discussed the police chief's performance. No votes were taken and minutes were sealed. I'd like to entertain a motion.
Just seal the minutes.
Oh, wait a minute. I gotta go back.
I'll make a motion to seal the minutes.
Right, okay. I need a
Seal the
second.
minutes of Executive session.
I need a
Correct. That's
second.
from executive section.
I'll make the motion unless somebody else did.
So do I have a motion in a second?
I made the motion to seal the
Second.
minutes in executive
Okay.
session.
Motion second to seal the minutes. Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes,
and I'm a yes. So now we are gonna go back.
I said yes.
to- Yep, we're gonna go back to 11C under general business. No, 11G, wait a minute,
11F, 11F.
11F. I know I have a big check over it. 11F under general business, town administrator, approval of police chief Jones employment contract, December 14th, 2020, and ending December 13th, 2023. Now I'd
I'll
like.
make a motion, I'll make a motion to approve the contract for the police chief from 12/14/20 through 12/21/22, as allowed per the contract at the town's discretion.
I'll second it.
So it's December 14th, 2020 to ending December 13th, 2023.
Correct.
Okay, I
So
thought.
that's 2022 there, that's, so, but 2023, yep.
Okay, so I have a second. Any further discussion?
Deb, now's your chance to do that. if
Now's
needed.
my chance.
Yeah.
Okay. On page 2, it talks about the employee is on call 7 days per week, 24 hours per day. Can we add a designee or, we have a deputy chief now, so.
If I may,
Chief Jones.
Councilwoman, if I may, I appreciate that, I truly do. But if you put any clauses in there, I will openly violate it. So I've been on call 25 most of my career, and I plan to continue to be. So, but I appreciate the gesture.
So with today's technology, even though he doesn't necessarily have to physically be available, I think he would still want to be in control and command of his entire staff, even by remote. So.
Trying to cut you some slack.
I know what you're trying to do, and I appreciate it.
But, yeah, Madam President, I believe also that if he were to go on vacation or want to do something, all he had to do is let the administrator know, to let the council know that he's going to be taking time off and somebody would be acting in his capacity. So I think the intent is good, but I think it's covered anyway
Covered.
by the, yes, it's covered by the policeman's Bill of Rights and everything else that they have.
Okay, any further discussion?
I just, so the real significant difference in this contract is the chief now gets his holidays and his longevity. In essence, that's what this really does.
Correct.
He gets what he deserves. He gets what he deserves after, all the time he puts in,
That's-
and the benefits he lost.
That goes without saying.
Right, he gets what he deserves, everything he's lost over the last couple of years.
Right.
Okay. Yep.
Just to.
Congratulations, Chief.
Wait a minute, Chris, we haven't voted yet, Joe. Chris, go ahead.
Just one minor thing, and I did go over it with the chief today. We did also run this by Tim Cavazza. He had a couple of minor tweaks as to language that are not at all substantive. I will show you those tweaks when you come to sign the contract to show you what they are, but they're like, it's instead of it. It's, really minor stuff. So I just want you to know, we did run it by the Chief Labor Council, and I did have Chief Jones review his changes, and we are both in agreement that they should be make sure the language is clean and clear.
Okay.
Is it shall instead of will and all of that stuff?
That stuff, yeah. Nothing that changes the substance of the contract.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Joe,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Jay,
Unreservedly, yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Deb,
Enthusiastically, yes.
Donna,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Congratulations.
So much.
Congratulations, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Motion to
Second.
adjourn.
Second.
I'll do this by
Don't-
hands. All those.
Don't
in
fight
Yes.
over it.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Donna, yes.
Yes.
All right,
Happy
thanks
holidays,
everyone.
everyone.
It went well.
Merry Christmas.